And welcome to a new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
And happy 4th of July to everyone.
Yeah, happy 4th of July.
And it's a perfect day for murder.
Hopefully it's a perfect day for murder.
It's a perfect day for murder. We're going to murder the... No, I'm sorry. Not on the 4th of July. We won't do that.
No, but if for anybody who's seen Army of the Dead... That takes place over the 4th of July weekend. And the whole thing was they want to nuke Las Vegas on the 4th of July because it's very, very patriotic because of all the booms.
Yes, exactly. And so just like Army of the Dead, we're going to murder this episode. But
in a good way.
In a good way. We're going to murder this episode in a good way. And you know who's going to be doing some murdering? Or attempted murdering?
Our favorite guest appearance on The Simpsons.
That's right. Sideshow Bob is back for another episode.
By the way, apparently Kelsey Grammer thought his Sideshow Bob was going to be a one-off, but they loved it so much, obviously, because it's Kelsey Grammer. They're like, screw it, we're going to keep bringing you back when we need to.
I love Kelsey Grammer. He is amazing. And so, if you guys hadn't guessed, because we're already up to Season 3, Episode 21, and if you guys know where we're at, you guys know that this episode is Black Widower.
Which obviously is a take on Black Widow, which is the definition of a woman who kills her husband for usually money or just because they're psychopaths.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I married an axe murderer.
Well, the funny thing is Selma is a kind of a psycho, but
she's not. She's just mean to her and Patty are just mean to Homer.
Yeah, I guess. They're nice to everyone else. Just absolutely mean to Homer.
Oh, yeah.
So the recap, air date was April 9th, 1992.
So no April Fools here.
Nope, no April Fools here. The recap, Sideshow Bob reappears and wishes to marry Selma. And Bart's convinced his old nemesis is up to no good. Which,
Bart.
I mean, Bart knew that he framed Krusty.
Yep.
And he knows something's up again here.
Now you wouldn't trust somebody that you sent to jail, would you?
No, never. Never again. Now, the funny thing is, I don't think this is necessarily a common theme with The Simpsons, but we do get the episode. We mentioned it a few episodes ago about the whole Puma Pride thing.
Yes.
Where that was about a rehabilitation of a convict as well.
Yes.
So I don't necessarily know if it's just a recurring theme throughout The Simpsons or if there's a few episodes.
Yeah, well, there's the episode Marge goes to jail.
Exactly.
So I think there's something in there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Doesn't Homer... I think they all end up in jail except for Bart and Lisa. Even Bart, I think, ends up in jail in one of those future episodes.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if it's just necessarily a theme or, I mean, we got Snake, we got, Sideshow Bob, we got a few other criminals in the town of Springfield. So just, I don't know, we'll keep an eye on it. I don't know if it's a necessarily common theme that The Simpsons have, but it's kind of every once in a while you get it.
Yeah.
So the chalkboard this week, funny noises are not funny.
See? Funny noises are funny.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's what Bart was doing. He's a fourth grader. He's making fart noises and...
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that's exactly what it was. And the class thought it was funny. I'm sure everyone thought it was funny.
Except for the teacher.
And Principal Skinner. And so, guess what? He ends up writing this up on the chalkboard.
Funny noises aren't funny.
Funny noises aren't funny. I think they're funny. They're a little funny. So the couch gag this week... Burglars are in the Simpsons' house and taking everything. Again.
Yeah, it's a repeat.
And they try to take the couch and the Simpsons sit on it and the burglars are like, we're taking this too. And
I feel like, not to spoil any future episodes, but I feel like they're diving back into their old bag of couch gags because they didn't, as Mike Reese said, they're really hard to come up with.
Well, not only that, but remember, this was probably still the era where repeats, they did two a season.
Yeah.
They were just recycling. Yes, hard to come up with, but they were just recycling the couch gags.
So, we start on probably my favorite thing to start on a Simpsons episode. Bart, Homer, and Lisa are watching the TV show Dinosaurs. For anybody out there who doesn't know what Dinosaurs are, the TV show...
It's on Disney Plus now.
That's awesome. Go watch it. The Dinosaurs was an animatronic show that basically they're a family of dinosaurs and they have their own, troubles, and it was commentary, and it was hilarious. And it's probably one of the saddest series finales ever, I feel like, because they end it with a nuclear winter. Spoiler alert. So they're watching the dinosaurs, which actually came out the previous year.
Yep.
And Bart, the Bart dinosaur in the show goes, "Don't have a Stegosaurus, man." And I've read a few places the reason that the Simpsons writers did this was because they felt like the dinosaurs kind of ripped off the Simpsons, which they kind of did.
Yeah, here and there. But, I mean, yeah, so the dad of the dinosaurs worked at, a tree cutting plant or tree knocking down plant.
But he didn't have side jobs.
No, not many.
And the mother was a homemaker, and the daughter was studious. Now, granted, the oldest son, he was more of the sports jock.
Yes.
And Bart obviously is.
And the baby talked in this one.
Yes, the baby talked, and not the mama.
Not the mama.
Not the mama. And Bart's, I love this quote. "It's like they saw our lives and put it right on screen."
Oh, they took that knock at... Now, was that Dinosaurs... Was that Fox 2?
No, ABC.
That was my other guess.
Because that's why it's on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Because Disney is owned by ABC.
Yep.
So we see, and, as they're watching the show, we cut back out, and Bart, Homer, and Lisa are all dressed up because they're all there to meet Selma's new boyfriend. Patty is already there, and she tells the Simpsons that she has some disturbing things to tell about the new guy. So we get one of these sequences where they're thinking, oh, what could it be? Elisa imagines a tall guy with a cane and a bag over his head with one eye hole. And that is actually a reference to the Elephant Man.
That's correct.
Which I had no... I stared at that screen for so long. And I'm like, what is this? And I kind of like peruse the internet. And they're like... A lot of people are like, oh yeah, this is the Elephant Man. Which I know about the Elephant Man. So it makes sense. Homer imagines Selma bringing in a guy's head hooked up to a machine. Which kind of reminded me of Futurama.
Right.
Even though they're heads in jars, but I wonder if that's where Matt Groening got the idea for Futurama and heads in jars was this episode.
Yeah.
And then finally, I don't know why, but Bart imagines that it's Homer.
I mean, that's bad. Don't get me wrong. That is very disturbing. As much as, Selma hates Homer, that would, it would be very disturbing.
But at the same time, why would Bart... I feel like Bart wouldn't think that. It's funny. It's hilarious. It would be disturbing, but Bart knows that his aunts hate his dad.
That's why it would be disturbing. But also in Bart's mind, Homer's married to Marge, so why would...
Yeah.
That's another reason I think it was... Yes, disturbing nonetheless.
It is disturbing. Or maybe it's a clone of Homer? Maybe that's what they were going for? It was a clone?
Maybe.
So, Patty informs the Simpsons that Selma's new boyfriend is a prisoner.
Yep. And so Patty's like, you see, Aunt Selma has this crazy obsession with not dying alone. So in depression, she joined this prison pen pal program. Her new sweetie's a jailbird. Bart's like, cool. He could teach us how to kill a guy with a lunch tray.
I mean, you never know who this guy is.
No.
So, it's funny working in television, a lot of on-air reporters, especially females, do get a lot of letters from prisoners, and you could probably use your imagination what those prisoners are writing.
Now, I wonder if so obviously they had Sideshow Bob come back.
Correct.
Now, I wonder if there were two ideas in the writer's room. Now that Snake was kind of getting a little bit more screen time, I wonder if they were like, originally like, okay, who can we do from the prison system that we have? Snake's a known character within the prison system. Yes. Let's try Snake. And then they're like, well, Kelsey Grammer wants to come back. Let's have him.
Well, maybe they asked Kelsey Grammer if he wanted to do it, and he said yes.
Yeah. So that's what I mean, we only know two jail-based characters.
And maybe there was a third option of introducing, like, a new jail person.
Yeah, but that would be kind of... Especially for season 3, yeah.
So, Selma and Sideshow Bob show up at The Simpsons, and, of course, Bart and Lisa scream at the sight of Bob because, he tried to frame Krusty, as Bart says throughout this entire episode. How can you guys trust him? He tried to frame Krusty. He's not wrong. And so, Bob tells Selma that Bart was the Seamus in short pants that sent him to prison. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the term Seamus in this.
Like the short person?
No, that's a leprechaun.
Oh, I don't know. Well, Seamus might be Irish.
Well, I think Seamus is an Irish name, so maybe. So for any of our Irish listeners out there who have heard this turn of phrase of Seamus, let us know what it means, because clearly we don't know. So then, after they all kind of calm down, we go to dinner, where Homer goes, if some kids sent me to prison, the first thing I would do is find out where they live and tear them a new belly button. And he takes his steak knife and he just slices in the air and he comes back down with it like he's sawing a steak and he just jabbing and right in front of Bart's face.
Yeah, that was so funny.
I would just, if I was Bart, I'd be like, what are you doing, man?
But Homer's an idiot. He completely forgot, apparently, in the 5 minutes between going to the door and going to dinner, that Bart was the one that framed him. So Bob tells Homer he forgot the 2 truths of the Buddha. And Homer responds, he's like, I did not. First truth is that existence is suffering. And 2, the cause of suffering is desire.
Which actually is very close, if not what Buddhism is actually about. I tried to look this up. There are 4 truths to Buddhism. But I didn't really get into it. But it's from what I read, it's very, I wouldn't say on the nose, but very close to what Buddhism actually is.
Yeah. And so we get a flashback of Bob's time in prison, which includes him picking up Krusty burger cups and containers on the highway. That was just so funny. Then you see Krusty driving down the highway, and Mr. Teeny hucks a full soda out of the sunroof and nails him in the head. I mean, that's just so funny. And every cup that he picks up or everything he picks up is like Krusty. And then he wins an Emmy for Best Supporting Performer in a Children's Program at the Daytime Emmy Awards.
So clearly he was nominated before. I feel like they would pull that nomination if he went to prison. Has there ever been a prisoner to win an award for like a major like Emmy or Grammy or...
Maybe someone that's been arrested or indicted, maybe not convicted. But I do think it's funny that as we've talked throughout this entire season, time seems to not matter.
Well, it's The Simpsons.
Well, no, but it doesn't seem like a yearly of anything seems to matter. Yeah. Now, who knows when this was taken or how long? Well, how long was Sideshow Bob in prison? Did they actually say during this episode?
Maybe I didn't catch it.
Okay, maybe it was like the year that he got arrested.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I could think of. And Krusty the Clown is like reading the categories, and he's like, the nominees include Droopy George, Colonel Coward, Pepito, the biggest cat in the whole wide world. And he was just a stuffed cat.
Well, I think there was a guy in a cat
costume, yeah. Sideshow Bob, live from Springfield Penitentiary, and Suck Up, the vacuum. And he's like, now filming a movie in Spain.
And it's the Suck Up the Vacuum is just a vacuum.
Yeah.
Like one of those old-timey ones.
Yep. And Krusty and Bob get in a fight over the camera. That was so funny. They basically YouTube-it hack, and then he's like, and the winner is they go back and forth arguing. And then he's like, the winner is Sideshow Bob.
And then like Sideshow Bob is like, I got something you'll never win.
Yep.
Which is kind of weird because I believe in a later episode, doesn't Krusty win an Emmy?
I think so, yeah. Or he has like a shelf full of Emmys or something weird.
Yeah.
And then we also learned in this episode, which I don't think we learned in the first Sideshow Bob episode, is he's a conservative Republican.
And the only reason we learned this is after Krusty and Bob are arguing, a doctor comes in with 2 guards and they sedate him.
Yep.
He's like, oh, actually, that quote is later. What I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so then we see Bob controlling a machine that prints license plates.
Yep.
And the license plate. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're making license plates in prison, you're making them for other people outside of the world. So who let Bob in charge of the typing in machine? I don't think he'd be a part of that, but apparently he made a license plate that say Die Bart. Yep. Or D Bart, as we learned later. D Bart D. Which, okay, we haven't talked about that yet, so shh. R.I.P. Bart.
Yep.
I hate Bart, which is an H and an 8 because obviously it's got to fit 7 letters on a license plate.
Yep.
And Bart DOA.
And for anybody who doesn't know what those acronyms stand for, Dead on Arrival.
That's right. And so we learn that his Emmy has to get taken away because, the prisoners are allowed to have it. So he's like, the prison guard is like, hey, you know the rules. Awards for excellence in entertainment are contraband. No Emmys, no Oscars, not even a Golden Globe. And I like how they're making fun of the Golden Globes. It seems like a lot of TV shows make fun of the Golden Globes.
Oh, yeah. I do like the fact after Bob tells him about the license plate thing, they cut back out and Bart yells, "Ay caramba."
Yeah.
Because it's a catchphrase.
Yep. And the funny thing about this is I was thinking about this whole scene.
Yes.
About, no Oscars, no Emmys and stuff like that. And I'm like, so do a lot of Hollywood actors go to prison? Like, if they had to make this contraband, enough people,
maybe
Hollywood members had to go to prison.
Maybe in the Simpsons universe. Maybe in the Simpsons universe, Leonardo DiCaprio is a serial killer.
Maybe.
Wait, he's only won one Oscar.
Yeah. But it seems funny to me that, unless, was there something in the 90s where a lot of actors were going to jail? Like, a lot of high-profile actors?
I feel like this reference, like, of him getting his Emmy taken away would fit definitely more in this era with the Me Too movement and, like, because, Bill Cosby has gone to prison. I think he's won a few awards. I think Harvey Weinstein won some awards.
Yeah.
You look at Masterson from that 70s show. I don't know if
he hasn't been convicted.
He hasn't been convicted yet, but he's on trial.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's won any awards.
Yeah, but it just seems funny that this joke makes it seem like Hollywood actors were getting in trouble back then, which I honestly can't remember. Maybe you guys know.
Or maybe it was just a joke.
That's possible. It is, but it just seems kind of weird. So we also learn by the letter that Selma sends that Bob's prison number is 24601, which is a reference to Jean Valjean's prison.
Valjean.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it?
Yes, Les Miserables.
Oh, I never have seen that.
I have not seen the musical or the movie, but I have read the book. Yeah. There is a book.
Now, we all know, and maybe this was kind of a reference to Sideshow Bob, because we all know, at least in the future episode, once again, Cape Fear, that he loves musicals.
Yes.
So I wondered, I don't know if we knew that he was a connoisseur.
Yes.
We knew that from the first Sideshow Bob episode where he was like really well read and stuff like that. So we kind of knew he was into the arts. I don't know if we necessarily know he was into musicals at this time. And so we see Selma write a letter to Bob, and basically she says she needs a man, and she can't find a law-abiding one.
I guess if you're desperate, go to the prison system?
Well, yeah. Well, we all know they're real men, right? Maybe.
In the physical sense, I guess. So we see Bob is reading the letter that she wrote, and in an earlier scene, Bob talks about how who has his lip balm because it's an overcrowded system.
Yeah.
And somebody's like, "Oh, here you go." So as Bob is reading his letter here, you see the prisoners in the background using the lip balm, which I thought was fantastic touch to the scene there. So she enclosed her letter with a picture of her and Patty on a tandem bike, but even she can't remember which one she is.
And I know how to tell them apart now.
Okay.
So I saw...
Is it the earrings?
No, it's not. And so I found this on a post recently on... I started following this thing called Rancho Relaxo Simpsons page, Facebook page. And they're really good. It's a lot of just pick-me-up type stuff and stuff like that. But someone recently posted a picture of how to tell Patty and Selma apart. So Patty... her hair is in the shape of an M for Selma. And Patty is her hair, whenever you see her from the side, her hair is in the shape of a P to her body, so you know that it's Patty.
Well, the next episode, I'm going to have to watch for that.
Yeah, fun fact for you guys.
So then
funny thing is, I don't know if they did that on purpose, or if this person just kind of noticed
maybe
what it was, but that's how now I am going to tell them apart.
Yes. So then we see Bob playing the violin because he wants to be a good prisoner after getting Selma's letters, and we see him playing a violin by the Conjugal Visit trailers.
Yeah, we all thought he was in the trailers, but he's not in the trailers.
He is not in the trailers. And so Bob decides to be a model prisoner because of the love of a good woman. And
Which, no, we'll get to it. I mean, I'm going to put this in my final thoughts. Let's keep going. I'm going to put this in my final thoughts.
So then we get him. So then, Bob's getting a release, and he's telling prisoners that he's going to miss them, and he tells Snake he's going to miss him the most of all, which is the first time he is referred to as Snake.
That's correct.
And also, this is kind of a nod to the Wizard of Oz as well, because in the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy's like, and I think it's the Cowardly Lion she says she's going to miss the most of all.
Yeah.
So I believe this is also a sly reference to the Wizard of Oz.
Yep. So if you guys don't remember, Snake's original name was just Jailbird.
Yes.
Like that was his tag name. So this is the first time we actually get his real name, probably because they're like, well, if he's going to be a reoccurring character, we better give him a name.
So we cut back to dinner, and Lisa says, Bob is proof a revolving prison system works. And then in the background, if you're not paying close enough attention, I notice this Bart snaps his head at Lisa because he looks at her like, what, really? And obviously this is kind of a commentary on our prison system.
Yep.
So there's that.
But I like how she's like, yeah, our revolving prison system works. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, if you said the prison system doesn't work, it would have got the same context, But
it is revolving, as we all know. So then Patty tells Selma that Bob is a once-in-a-lifetime catch, and Bob says he hopes the police are saying that as well. I love that.
That was a good line.
That's great. That is a great one-liner.
Yep. And so we get Bob proposing to Selma at the table. He's like, well, I don't know if this is necessarily the right time. But he's like, Selma, would you mind if I did something bold and shocking in front of your family? He's like, all right, but no tongues.
God.
It's really funny because we get later on Sideshow Bob doing the
yeah.
But I almost wish he would have done it here too, but I don't think it would have fit within the context of it. I was like, although kissing you would be like kissing some divine ashtray, that's not what I had in mind. Selma, will you marry me? And Bart's like, don't be a fool, Aunt Selma. That man is scum. And Selma's like, then call me Mrs. Scum.
When you're desperate and you need a man, you go for it, even though, Now, I'm not saying all prisoners can't get reformed, but this is Sideshow Bob. The red flags are there.
Yeah.
The red flags are there.
And his red hair is there, too.
I mean, yes.
Waving.
Yes.
Like a red flag. All right. So next, Bob, Patty, and maybe Selma. I don't know if Selma.
No, I think it was just Bob and Selma.
Yeah. They go to the Happy Sumo, where Bob and Selma sing karaoke, and they're singing Something Stupid by Frank and Nancy Sinatra.
I had to look that up because they were singing. I'm like, this has got to be a real song.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I knew it was a real song. I could have told you that.
But did you know the name of the song?
I didn't know that. I knew who it was actually, who it was by. I didn't know the actual. It's funny. Like, I would say most people know the song by hearing it. And they know who it's by. No, I'm just saying, most people, if you hear a song on the radio, you usually know who it is.
Yes.
Most of the time. Do you know the actual name of the song most of the time? Not really.
Sometimes, the weird thing is sometimes I know the name of the song and not who
What?
did it. Yes.
That's really weird. Alright, and so, I just love how, like, horrible. Well, I guess Sideshow Bob's actually a pretty good singer.
Yes.
Selma, horrible singer. And so then after that, we get a montage of Selma and Bob doing, boyfriend, girl, I guess, fiance stuff. Now, I just really want to know how long it was from the letters in jail to the proposal to getting married.
Well, I feel like the day he got out of jail might have been the dinner.
Okay.
I feel either that or the next night.
Maybe because fresh out of jail, introduced to the family. I mean,
I feel like maybe I could have looked up to see how long of a jail sentence you get for
attempted burglary.
And what's it called when you set somebody up? Why can't I think of the name?
I can't think of the name.
when you set somebody up to take the fall.
Yeah. And so the montage includes paddle boating by the nuclear power plant, and we actually see Blinky jumping out of the water. Well, not really Blinky, remember, because Blinky got eaten.
Yes, Blinky.
New Blinky. Going to the salon to get their hair done, walking on the beach, and frolicking through flowers. And you see, I love it, like Bob's long feet just frolic. And once again, final thoughts. I'm going to save it till the end.
Okay.
So then Selma passes Hans Moleman. We see Hans Moleman trying to get his driver's license probably for the millionth time. And
he was doing an eye test.
He was doing an eye test. And he clearly... Well, he got like the first few letters right.
He got the first 2 right and then the rest of them wrong.
And he's like, Z6.
Now, I don't remember because it's been 18 years now since I've gotten my driver's license. Was there a letter reading thing? Because I remember looking into a machine to see the light for the peripherals. That's the same thing,
the lights too. I failed that's where I failed for the first time, my eye exam. Peripheral? No, my eye exam. I couldn't read the letters because I don't know if they do this in all states. I don't know if they do. But in Wisconsin, you cover your right eye, you cover your left eye and read. And when they covered my left eye, I couldn't read with my right eye.
Is that when you found out your eyes?
I actually needed glasses. So
for one eye.
For one eye. I should have just got a monocle. That would have been so cool. But just to let you guys know, if you guys ever go to the Springfield DMV, make sure you don't go to booth 6. If booth 6 is called, don't go, because that's Selma's booth. You just don't want to get torn to shreds. No. Unless she's dating Sideshow Bob at the time, and then she'll probably pass you for... Yeah. You know. And so then next up, we see Krusty the Clown's 27th annual telethon for motion sickness. And they do a shot of all the kids in the front row, and Wendell is in the crowd for motion sickness. And if you guys remember, Wendell had the uneasy stomach in Bart Gets an F.
Yes. So yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That was a funny little tie-in. Yeah. And so the guy comes out on stage, like, I wanna bring someone out on stage, and they bring out Bob. Yep. Now it's just so weird, the progression of this episode where you're trying to make Sideshow Bob seem like this great guy. Like, it's just really funny the amount of effort that Sideshow Bob is putting in to make himself be the most outstanding person in the world. And so Krusty tells Sideshow Bob that the jerk that he got to replace him couldn't hold a slide whistle to him. And they cut away to sad Sideshow Mel in his house. And he's like, I can only be myself.
Which I believe is the first or maybe second time we actually hear him speak.
Yeah, he doesn't have many speaking roles right off the bat.
No.
And so Bob asks Krusty if he can forgive him for framing him and putting him in jail.
That's the word, framing.
Yeah. And Krusty replies, if they open the books for books on the telethon, he'll be right back in prison.
Oh my God.
So why is he really raising money for his gambling debts again?
Probably. Yeah. And I hope, now my hope is, because they did this on stage, that they weren't mic'd and the cameras weren't rolling. Because if they were, Krusty's going to prison. I was that thought just popped in my mind, because they did it on stage. They're clearly both wearing mics. Yeah. At least Krusty is.
Well, unless it wasn't a televised telethon.
I thought it was on TV.
Was it?
I think so.
Okay.
So he might have gotten in trouble unless the audio guy, cut his mic.
Yeah.
So then we, cut back to Bart. Yeah, because Bart was watching it. Okay. And Bart goes, he doesn't believe for a second that Bob has changed because, Bart doesn't trust Bob because he framed Krusty. So we cut to the kitchen. And I think this is probably the next day after the telethon.
Probably.
Marge, Selma, Patty, and Bob are planning the wedding.
Yep, and so Homer overhears them talking about the appetizers.
Yep.
And he's like, gee, you can't go wrong with cocktail weenies. They taste as good as they look. And they come in this delicious red sauce. It looks like ketchup. It tastes like ketchup. But brother, it ain't ketchup.
I love the fact that the only reason, I feel like Homer went in there to get a beer.
He did. He opened up the fridge and overheard him.
And then Bob asked Homer about it because Homer is a man of food and Bob knows this. So I love that line. Dude, honestly, cocktail weenies are amazing, especially when they're pigs in a blanket.
Those cocktail weenies?
Well, they're cocktail weenies in a croissant.
Yeah.
So
Maybe.
or
cocktail weenies are in the sauce.
It's usually barbecue sauce. Funny thing is, I made cocktail weenies for a Super Bowl party. All I did was put them in a slow cooker, dumped a bunch of barbecue, brought them to work because it was a Super Bowl party for work, and one of the anchors at the time absolutely loved them. Like,
maybe Homer doesn't realize that cocktail weenies are dipped in barbecue sauce.
Maybe. Well, it's funny because the anchor was like, "Oh, this is so good." I told her, all I did was put them in barbecue sauce. I mean, maybe the slow cooker does something with the chemicals in it. I don't know. But Homer's not wrong. Cocktail weenies are amazing. And this is where we learn that Selma's sense of taste and smell are gone because she shot a bottle rocket straight up her nose. It's been a while since
I'm not a doctor.
No.
But I believe if you shoot a bottle rocket up your nose, you're going to lose more than your sense of smell.
Well, I was going to say, don't bottle rockets explode?
Yes.
Okay, because I haven't shot one off in a very long time. So
yeah, they explode, yeah.
Okay, so she's losing more than just her sense of taste.
She might be losing her nose.
Well, I guess she would. Maybe she has a prosthetic nose?
Maybe.
And so Marge writes down cocktail weenies and Swedish meatballs for appetizers, which Swedish meatballs, that's amazing. So, Bob is uncertain if they can afford their wedding.
Yeah, which is kind of weird because, Bob's right out of prison.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how much Selma makes at the DMV.
I think at least in Wisconsin, I have a friend who works for the DMV, and now I think she's a supervisor now. I think when she started out, she was making like $17, $18 an hour.
So, for Wisconsin, that ain't half bad.
So, for Springfield, and this is Green Bay. Green Bay is super cheap to live in.
Yeah.
So, but her husband does computers, so he makes a ton of money. And I love how he goes, well, I already spent $8 of the $10 the prison gave me. What did he spend $8 on? Toiletries?
Maybe the suit that he wore to the telethon? Or dinner?
Well, I feel like maybe Krusty would have rented that for him.
Maybe.
So Selma says not to worry because she invested in a mace company because she thought the world was going to end.
Yep.
Which, honestly, thinking about it, investing in a mace company is not a half bad idea.
So if the world's going to end and she's thinking zombie apocalypse.
Well, actually, wait.
I don't think mace affects zombies.
A mace or a mace? As in the
I didn't even think about that.
The weapon, the mace. Because she doesn't specify. My brain went to mace as the pepper spray.
Yeah.
But maybe she's talking about the weapon, but then that's not a great investment.
No, that would be for the apocalypse. Because if it's zombies, she needs to whack zombies in the head.
That is true. Or, maybe all the guns are fried and, mace is a good weapon of choice. It would be, yeah. So, yeah.
Good pull. I didn't even think about the synonym of mace.
Yes. So, she apparently made a ton of money investing in it, though, because maybe in the Simpsons universe, they thought the world was going to end. She invested, and then, end of the world, and then, at the last second, she pulled out and the world didn't end. She's like, sweet, I made all this money.
Yeah.
So, then we see Bob and Selma at night on a carriage ride, which the carriage is driven by Barney, but Selma freaks out because she doesn't want to miss MacGyver, which I feel like, why would Barney...
what is
Barney's job in this universe?
Carriage driver.
What else?
Oh, Barney's Bolorama. He works for the Bolorama.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
He owns the Bolorama.
Well, that spoiler alert. Because isn't it his uncle who owns it right
Yeah,
now?
I guess his uncle, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I feel like maybe Barney does that as a night side job. Completely wasted and drunk. Yeah. Driving a horse carriage.
Well, didn't Selma give him a $5?
Or maybe 10 or something.
No, I think it was a $5 tip to get him back to her apartment so she could watch MacGyver.
Yep. And so they're sitting there watching MacGyver and, it's over and, someone's like, that MacGyver's a genius. And Bob, very sarcastically, is like, first of all, he's not a genius. He's an actor. And second, he's not much of an actor. And Selma's like, you're lying. You're lying. And it's like, no, Selma, this is lying. That was a well-plotted piece of non-claptrap that never made me want to retch. And
oh, man. Have you ever done that to your wife? Make fun of something she likes?
all the time.
Well, that's just mean.
No, it's not.
That's mean.
Okay, sometimes it's mean. Other times it's just funny. Because it makes no sense.
Okay, we watch The Simpsons. We're doing a podcast. Half the stuff they do doesn't make sense.
Fair enough. But this is an animated show, not live action.
That's fair. I'll give you that point.
To be fair, Selma apparently thinks MacGyver's a real person.
That is true. Yes.
So I think Sideshow Bob is semi-warranted. Not 100%, semi-warranted. And as far as his joke for it, I'm 100%.
Oh my god, that's a great joke.
Yep. And so, Homer... Wait, no. Selma goes to The Simpsons to cry about, her fiance not liking MacGyver. And Bart is completely happy. He's like, oh, so the wedding is off. And I love this. He says, fiddle-dee-dee to Selma and agrees that Sideshow Bob, because Sideshow Bob hates MacGyver, he shouldn't, love it. But holy crap, they brought back fiddle-dee-dee. Fiddle-dee-dee. Oh my god, I could not believe Bart said that. I thought that was the best thing in the world.
Oh my god.
And so Bob comes over and tries to apologize to Selma. And she's basically like, we're a package. Love me, love MacGyver. And I mean, to be in a relationship, now I watch my shows, down here. If my wife wants to, she'll sit on the couch, completely ignore it, do something on her phone, tablet, whatever.
But she just wants to hang out.
Sometimes she'll just go up to the bedroom,
watch
a show that she wants to watch at the same time. So now we kind of get to the point where, Homer kind of butts in and says, when Marge watches a non-violent TV show, he goes for a walk, goes to a bar and has a few, and then comes back in the mood for love.
I do like the fact that, Selma tells Bob to tell her that he likes MacGyver, and he tries, but he can't.
Yes, it's like, just tell me you love MacGyver. I can't do it. I mean, it makes sense in a way that, as Selma, maybe it's more of a female mindset. I don't know. Maybe the female listeners can let us know if you want your significant other to like what you want to like. Now, yes, me and my wife have similar tastes. Like, we watch some of the same shows.
Well, it's like our parents too. Like, our mother watches HGTV every night. Every night from 7 to 10. Or 7 to 9 sometimes if I'm visiting. But yeah, I mean, I'm single, but if I ever get a girlfriend and she's like, well, you need to like this stuff, I'm like, well, that's a red flag. I'm out of here.
Yeah. And so at the end of the whole conversation, Bart's like, Bart no like bad medicine.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Is that a reference to
It must be. I didn't Google it, and nothing that I've read says it's a reference, but I feel like it has to be.
Maybe? Is it like, well, there's a song, Bad Medicine.
I don't know if it has that.
But I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that has to be a reference to something.
Yeah.
And so we cut to the wedding.
Yep.
And we see that Maggie's a flower girl. And Lisa's like, I could have been the flower girl. I would fall down all the time.
I'm really confused. Like, the weird thing is, watching that scene, I originally thought Maggie was a bridesmaid because she didn't have like a basket of flower petals.
Didn't she? Or was she just holding the flowers?
She was holding flowers.
She doesn't have the arm strength to do it.
And usually you make the baby the ring bearer.
Yes, that is kind of weird that Maggie would have been the ring bearer. Lisa could have been the flower girl.
And Bart could have just been there.
Bart could have been the...
Or maybe Lisa wasn't the flower girl because they wanted Lisa to babysit Bart.
Right.
Because God knows Homer can't do it. And Marge would probably be either the maid of honor or a bridesmaid for Selma. So,
and you all know Bart would try to blow up the wedding.
Yes.
That's why you needed a babysitter.
Well, that and because it's Sideshow Bob. So,
yep.
I'm a little surprised, though, that in this episode, they didn't do Does Anybody Object?
That is weird.
I just thought about that right now because I'm like, well, in most weddings...
Especially Catholic weddings. We didn't do that in our wedding.
No.
We didn't have that in ours. I think it's more of a Catholic wedding situation. Maybe.
No, I think our oldest cousin, Danny, I think they did it at his wedding.
I feel like remember. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when Lovejoy is doing the vows and asks Bob if he'll have Selma until death do they part, and he turns to Bart, and Bart imagines him as the Grim Reaper saying, I do.
Oh, it's Sideshow Bob.
Yep. And I like how Moe and Barney apparently got in. Well, okay. Moe and Barney has been a bane to Patty and Selma both.
Yes.
At parties, at the bar, like everywhere.
Is it possible maybe they hired Mo? Now granted, might be a stretch because we do see waiters going around. But is it possible they had Mo provide drinks for the wedding?
But that wouldn't necessarily mean he's invited to the wedding to sit.
That's true. And he looked like he was more invited.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
But yeah, so Barney...
Unless they crashed the wedding.
Possibly. Because, Barney still thinks he has a shot with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mo and Barney are at the wedding, and when offered champagne, Barney takes the entire bottle.
I would totally try to do that at a wedding. I still want to know why. Maybe they just invited everybody from Springfield.
I guess I didn't. Funny enough, I didn't necessarily pay attention to the other people at the wedding. No. I guess it didn't really appeal to me.
No. So then we see Homer eating off of a waiter's tray, and he summons other waiters to surround him, and he's just picking appetizers off the trays, which is definitely a Homer thing to do.
Yeah.
So then Patty laments that she's the only single girl left in the family, but then looks at Homer eating from the appetizer trays and says it could be worse. Now, here's my question. Technically, aren't both Lisa and Maggie part Bouvier?
Yeah.
Or is she talking adult single female?
I think adult.
Yeah. Because I was thinking about that. I'm like, but I guess Lisa and Maggie are technically
they're
Simpsons.
Yeah.
But they also have a little Bouvier in them because ancestry.
Yeah.
So then we see Marge is filming the wedding, and she runs into Krusty the Clown. Oh, because Bob brought
they made it up. Yep.
And I love how she asked Krusty to say something funny, and he just tells a really bad joke.
Well, he doesn't even finish. He's like, well, there's this guy. He's like, well, I can't tell you this.
And then we find out that Selma is 41 years old, which means Patty is 41 years old because they're twins.
Yep.
And so Selma tells the crowd on the advice from her new husband that she is giving up smoking except for after meals and MacGyver.
Well, I don't feel like that is giving up smoking.
After meals and after MacGyver? If she's only having one cigarette.
2. Because one after dinner and one after MacGyver.
But isn't it meals? Oh, yeah, it's after meals. So you'd have 3 meals and then MacGyver, so 4 total.
Yeah,
that's not really good.
That's not giving up smoking.
Yeah.
And so, I love this. So Bart asks Chief Wiggum, Chief, you've been around. Don't you you don't trust Sideshow Bob, do you? He's like, listen up, son. If he was going to commit a crime, he would he have invited the #1 cop in town? Now, where did I put my gun? Oh yeah, I set it down when I got a piece of cake.
Why was he holding his gun when he was getting cake? I mean, I get the joke because he's the #1 cop and he's an idiot. But even I feel like
why did he bring his gun to the wedding?
Because he was in his police outfit.
Why was he in his police outfit?
I don't know. Maybe he thought there was going to be crime because Sideshow Bob was there.
Okay, it makes sense. Well, no, he said there wouldn't be crime because the #1 cop was invited.
Maybe he just got off his shift. And he didn't have time to change?
Right.
Also, don't get me wrong, police uniforms do look rather spiffy.
I guess.
In real life. So, yeah. I could see somebody doing that. Now, would you really want to do that? Probably not. You probably want to wear like a suit or like a nice shirt and jacket. But this is Wiggum. Yeah. So, as Selma and Bob are driving to the honeymoon, Bob tells Selma to rest because the wedding was tough on her, but the honeymoon will be murder. How does she not hear that? Or is she just really
I think she has the love blinders on.
That, and so obviously you got married. Were you guys super tired at the end of the night? Like when you guys got home or to the hotel or wherever you went to afterwards?
No, not really.
Was it not that long? Because I know some people who get married after their wedding, they're just super tired.
No, we weren't. I mean, we went back to the hotel. We had some drinks with family because we booked a bunch of rooms at the same hotel. Mom, Dad, her parents. Yeah. We had a few drinks. And
I didn't get to have a few drinks. Oh wait, I wasn't. Yeah, I was 21. Where was I? Was I just sleeping?
Did you go back to our condo in Brooklyn Park? Or no? Where'd you sleep? I guess I don't know.
No, I slept in the hotel because I think I shared a room with Mom and Dad.
Oh, weird.
Yeah. Trust me, I didn't like it. So as we see them drive, Bob and Selma drive off, we see that his license plate reads, I hate Bart. Yep. I hate Bart. So clearly in the prison, he was making these license plates for himself.
Yeah, right.
Clearly.
You think he changes his license plate after he commits a crime so they don't realize what car drove away?
I mean...
It's a good idea.
Isn't that done in a lot of movies where
Yeah.
like the license plate switches?
Yep. I'm sure he did that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing the next day, most likely,
Yeah.
or next couple days or
Yeah.
whatever, Selma sent the Simpsons a video of her honeymoon. So, okay, obviously we got mail. So I think they're in Shelbyville. Yep, the honeymoon in Shelbyville. Okay, so let's say 2 days for the mail. Let's just put it at that. So she filmed this whole thing of when they got there.
Yeah.
And then mailed the tape?
It's really weird. When we get to our final thoughts, I'll leave it for there.
Yeah, it's just so weird. So they sent the Simpsons a video of their honeymoon,
which the Simpsons gave them the tape to do it.
Yep, and Homer's like, after we watch it, we can tape over it.
Now, have you ever, outside of, I know you have a lot of VHS tapes. Is there something you videotaped over on purpose? On purpose? Because I know we've done it on accident.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever taped over anything on purpose. And I've had a lot of brand new VHS tapes.
Gotcha.
And so, like we just mentioned, we learned that Selma and Bob honeymooned in Shelbyville, which apparently Shelbyville is a destination for honeymoons.
We see the Shelbyville waterfall and the Rolling Rock, which is a big boulder rolling on a carved out piece of mountaintop, I guess.
Yeah.
It was weird. I mean, it's the Simpsons is what they do. Was Rolling Rock supposed to be maybe a play on I don't know how old the beer Rolling Rock is.
Oh, that I guess I don't know. It almost cements the fact that they're somewhere out west.
Yeah. It
almost cements that fact.
We know Springfield's in
Utah.
Well, for right now we know it's in Utah.
Ish. Yeah. So Selma catches Bob yelling at the luggage handler, saying he wanted a room with a fireplace. And so, he whacks him in the face with his pamphlet and everything. Now, my question is, so the very next scene, we see Bob, lighting the fireplace. Yeah. At what point did they change rooms? Because I feel like he was yelling at the luggage guy.
They were in the lobby, I think.
Oh, were they? I thought, no, they were in the room because they had...
So Maybe once the luggage handler got up there...
So she paused the tape and then started recording again in the new room?
Yes.
Oh my God. It just seems so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. And then, I don't know. So I don't know when they changed rooms.
Yeah.
But then Bart asked the family why Bob went nuts over a fireplace. And Marge's like, he just wants to have a honeymoon to be romantic, which... Fireplaces,
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest thing on fire. I'm not the big fireplace
Now, like,
guy.
if you're going to go outside and, have a fire out under the stars...
Yes. Okay, in their situation where they are, that would have been more romantic than in a room. Yes. Now, if they went, let's say, to Colorado on a ski resort...
That would be romantic.
That would be more romantic.
But they're out west, and as we will see later, there is an outside bar, so maybe they're at, like, a resort. So maybe the fireplace could be romantic.
I don't know. And so this scene was so great. So apparently they were making love, so did they not have marital relationships prior to getting married then? Was this their first time? Or was
it could have been.
I mean,
or maybe they did it beforehand and Bob at this point, we understand his motives. After, up to this point, because it's Sideshow Bob, we don't trust him as a viewer. So maybe they did, and it was all an act, and this was...
But we know they did it, because she was like, yes. Oh, this is the best thing. Like, Selma obviously is completely oblivious to everything. Now,
well, as you said, the love blind.
But, I don't even know if I want to wait till the final thoughts, but, I get Sideshow Bob wanted to get on everyone's good side about this. But I feel like doing that is well out of his comfort zone for anything.
Probably.
But then after making love, Bob runs to the bathroom to scrub himself off, which, duh.
Yeah.
And then he goes back out, and she's like, I need a foot rub. Was it my corns are bothering me or something? And so as he's giving her a foot rub, he mutters under his breath, soon I will kill you. And she was like, what? Oh. That was French for something.
Yes.
And he's like, prepare to be murdered. And he's like, prepare to be murdered. And maybe that one was French.
No, that one was Sanskrit. You're right, yeah.
Yeah, that one was Sanskrit for
Oh, it's Bob. He's very cultured.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Yes.
Uh-huh. But, and then he says one more thing, and then we didn't write it down, but he says one more thing, and then under his breath, he's like, even more.
Yes.
But then he's like, okay, I'm done with this. And he's like, he reminds Selma about MacGyver. He's like, oh my God. And so he's like, well, I'm going to go for my constitutional.
Yes.
And so before he leaves, he turns on the gas of the fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
He places cigarettes next to her and just kind of slowly leaves the room. And he whispers, don't forget to die.
Oh, God.
And so Patty comes over to the Simpsons house because she's feeling lonely because her sister's gone and on her honeymoon. And Marge tells her, hey, just join in.
This is probably my second favorite part of this episode. And the reason, so when I was watching this episode, I'm like, wait, is this the episode where this happens? And so they do the tonight on MacGyver, and they cut to Bart, and he just in his head, MacGyver. And I'm like, yes. I don't know what it is about this particular scene, but it is fantastic. Maybe it's because I feel like they do this in movies and TV shows where it's like it repeats over and over, and something clicks in your brain.
Yep.
So
Bart literally realizes what's about to happen. And pops up and exclaims, and Selma has 1 hour to live. And Homer's down in front.
That's the second time he's done that, because with the dog almost dying. And then we cut to commercial, and so we cut back, and Bob's at the bar. And clearly they're in a resort, and he looks up, and he says goodbye as Selma's room explodes. So we have no idea what happened.
Yep.
Because this is, they wrote this as kind of a murder mystery kind of episode. I did read somewhere, and this may or may not be true, but they wanted to win a murder mystery award.
Really?
Yeah. So this is why this episode was possibly written. I don't know if that's true or not. But I did read that somewhere. So take that with a grain of salt. So then Bob goes up to the scene of the crime, only to find Bart in the chair. And Bart says the only victims here are the people at Best Western hotels.
So apparently they stayed at a Best Western.
Which apparently was also a resort?
Do Best Westerns have resorts?
Maybe?
I don't
know. So then we come in. So then Selma, she's at the door. And she comes in and slaps Bob and asks for a separation. And I go, why not a divorce? Unless they didn't sign a prenup?
Maybe.
Although, well, no, because I guess even with the prenup, he attempted to murder her.
Yeah.
She wouldn't get anything, I'm assuming. So, separation, and I don't think they ever divorced from this episode.
No, I don't think they did.
And doesn't Selma get married again?
She does. And she has remember the person, I will get to it, I can't remember every last name, but they actually list every last name. So it's hyphenated. She just keeps their last names.
So maybe we don't see her get divorced and she does eventually get divorced from Bob.
Maybe.
So then Wiggum asks Bart to fill them in how he figured it out, even though, because Wiggum's like, well, for the rest of us. And Bart says he wouldn't want to tell the number one cop how to do his job. And Wiggum says it's okay because it's the only way he'll learn. God, he's so dumb. Anyways, so then Bart tells the story of how he figured it out. So we go back and he goes, Selma's only hope was a plucky little boy and his slow-witted father. And so, he tries to explain to Homer again and again about what's happened. We see him using puppets and a book. And the book he uses is called Science Made Very, Very Simple. As I mentioned, he tried to explain 4 different times to Homer what was going to happen. Homer never got it.
Nope.
And then he just goes to Marge, and we were on our way. Why didn't he just go to Marge in the first place?
Yeah, I feel she only has an hour left to live. I mean...
And the other thing, too, is they were all in the room when he figured out what was going to happen. Wouldn't she still be in the room? Unless she got up to get a drink or something? And wouldn't Patty be in there, too? And Lisa? I'm going to save her final thoughts. Anyway, so then... Homer says, to the Simpson Mobile, which is a Batman reference.
Yep. And so we see them driving, and there's a sign, by their house as they're leaving that says Shelbyville, 34 miles away.
Do they live off a highway or something?
Well, yeah. I mean, whenever we saw them go to the lake and go to places, it's pretty much in the Canyon Harrow episode. I mean, they're right off the highway.
That's true.
So I don't know if that necessarily changes, but in a few episodes we do see them right by the highway. But yeah, 34 miles. So My guess is 34 miles
about
driving
a half hour.
So Bart, I want to know how much time Bart wasted
explaining.
So tonight on MacGyver, hour.
Yeah.
So how long did he try to explain time to?
Well, as we see, they get there right at the end.
Yeah.
So maybe they were doing, maybe they called the cops and the cops escorted them. Maybe they were doing like 80.
Maybe.
And maybe it took them 20 minutes to get there and it took like a half hour to explain and maybe like 9 minutes to run up the stairs.
Maybe. Yeah, so Wiggum and the police plus Homer are smoking cigars outside for a job well done. And I like how Wiggum lights his match and throws it in the scene. Well, that's more of him explaining what happened.
Yeah, because Bob's like, well, I saw the room explode. What happened? And Wiggum's like, oh, I can fill you guys in.
Yeah. He explains he lit a cigarette to celebrate a job well done.
And even though Bart, did 99% of the legwork.
Yes. And Bob says you can't keep him locked in because you can't keep the Democrats out of the White House. Once they're back in, he'll be back out on the street with all of his buddies.
So now, this was probably done in 91. 92, Bill Clinton ended up getting elected to the White House. So is this kind of
No.
You wouldn't call this a prediction?
No.
I mean, he says you can't keep the Democrats out of the White House, and the Democrats won the White House that year.
Yeah. Well, we do see Sideshow Bob get out again, so maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll give it a half prediction.
Half prediction, yes.
Half a point.
Well, it was a 50-50 shot that a Democrat or a Republican was going to get in the White House.
Theoretically, no. Because there are other people on the presidential ticket. There are, but obviously, actually, usually about 3% of the vote goes to other candidates.
Okay, so 48-48.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, all right. And I like how Patty and the Simpsons feel like fools because they, didn't call it, except Bart. He never lost his trust. And Bart says to leave before they all suffocate. And they laugh as the episode goes to credits.
Because I believe
the gas is still running.
The gas is A, still running, and B, now I don't have a gas fireplace. I've never had a gas fireplace. You have a gas stove. Is that kind of gas the stuff that makes you laugh?
No.
Okay.
It'll just make you faint and die.
So for final thoughts, I like this episode. There are a lot of things in this episode, though, that, someone wants a separation. It's just, the whole thing with Bart explaining to Homer instead of just going to Marge right away. The time stuff. However, the jokes are really good. I love the beginning of this episode where they have the dinosaurs reference. That automatically gets a point for me. It's automatically a point. It's a Sideshow Bob episode. You cannot go wrong with a Kelsey Grammer episode. There's certain things in this episode that are just, they don't touch the right way. I know they were trying to go for the murder mystery vibe, but you have Sideshow Bob. Of course he's going to try to murder somebody.
Yeah.
Like, we all know it's Sideshow Bob.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give it, I hate giving it a 3, don't have a column, man. There's just certain things about it that are just awkward to me.
Yeah, I'm not going to go as bad as that. I'm going to give it a 4 and sprinkles just because you can't go wrong with a Sideshow Bob episode. He's a great character.
Can I do 3.5?
No.
Don't have a ham man?
Don't have a ham man. But yeah, I mean, the thing that irks me the most is just the Sideshow Bob with Selma stuff. It doesn't seem like, especially the whole sex thing. Look, I get it, he wants to get in, but maybe a foot rub. Maybe it's like, oh, it's our wedding night. I'm too tired for this. Yeah. The foot rub works. Yes, he doesn't like doing it. The foot rub kind of keeps.
But he was. Now, here's the thing: we don't know Bob's sexuality. We don't
know, but
he could be straight. He might like. So, I mean, he was in prison for a while. We've never seen him with other women. He could just be asexual, and in this instance, he was like,
no, it was because of Selma. Who wants to have sex with Selma?
Clearly, somebody.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But that's not my point. My point is the things he did around that.
But he didn't even like doing the foot rub.
No, but that's okay. But the Krusty thing. Okay, how does showing he's a good guy to the whole town? I mean, maybe, but it just...
Because don't forget, he tried to frame Krusty. So making up with Krusty makes people think, oh, you know what? He's changed over a new leaf. Krusty trusts him. I'm going to trust him.
Maybe. Krusty
is probably the second biggest celebrity outside of Kent Brockman in Springfield.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just the way things worked out. It doesn't give me a 5. I want to give Sideshow Bob episodes 5s. I really, really do. But this particular one, the Krusty one, yeah, I had to give it a 5. Yeah. This one, I'm going to go 4 sprinkles, just because I just didn't like the interactions between Sideshow Bob and
I feel like you
Selma.
should be giving it a 3.
No. I mean, that was the only thing. As far as the jokes go, as far as the delivery of the jokes, I mean, everything that, the proposal went well. The whole Wiggum being a dumbass went well. Homer's, I gut the person who sent me to prison. So, I mean, the jokes, the quotes, the delivery, all that stuff was fine. It was literally just how they pieced it together. That was my only gripe with it.
It's not the best Sideshow one.
No,
it's like, because I believe I gave 5 to the
Krusty Gets Busted.
Krusty Gets Busted as well. I guess I'm kind of comparing the 2 episodes, which I know we don't really want to do, but
there's a good reason to, because it is Sideshow Bob.
And I just the plot, it makes sense. It didn't, maybe when I watched it, maybe it was just my brain just not being in that space to, maybe make it even better. Maybe I had built up expectations for it.
That's possible. I mean, there are certain episodes that we've reviewed so far where I'm going into thinking, oh, this is definitely a 5. I love this. And then I watch it, I'm like, man, maybe this episode wasn't as good as I thought it was when I originally watched it.
So this is, I can't go to that 4 level. It's great. The dinosaur gag, I love. The MacGyver. I feel like it's also a little too on the nose of the characters getting there right in time to stop the bad thing from happening. You see that in every movie and TV show. I hate that. But
that I think that's what they're trying to get at.
Yeah. Now, granted, it's 92, and that trope probably isn't as played out.
Yeah,
but it's the last second thing, and you couldn't get there a minute earlier before she takes a cigarette and be like, no, don't smoke it. And then she's still...
the suspense, man. It was the suspense.
We all know they weren't going to kill Aunt Selma.
You don't know that.
Yeah, anyway.
You don't know that. Oh, that would have been the biggest surprise death of all.
Probably.
Maybe. All right. So let's finish it off with our character profile. And this week we have the grumpy Selma Bouvier.
Terwilliger. Terwilliger?
Yep, so Selma Bouvier Terwilliger. I don't know why she went hyphenated, but hey.
Because she never got divorced?
No. I mean, you don't have to do that. You just you have to decide, like, shave.
Well, don't you have to, pay to change your name?
Well, yeah. And you have to change everything.
Yes.
So she decided to go hyphenated instead of taking his last name.
I think that's the joke.
Yeah. So, family tree spot. She is the daughter of Jacqueline Bouvier, twin sister of Patty, both older sisters of Marge.
Yeah. Yep.
Pet iguana's name.
Have we seen Jub Jub yet?
No, we haven't seen Jub Jub yet. I think that's the Selma Troy McClure marriage. Cigarette brand, Laramie.
I believe that's the only cigarette brand.
The only cigarette, yeah.
Outside of the kids one and the lights.
Laramie Juniors.
Yes.
And Laramie Lights. Yeah, but Laramie's the brand.
Yes.
Employer, Department of Motor Vehicles.
Yep.
Hair, frizzy, grayish, with a part in the middle distinguishing her from her twin sister.
Yes.
So, the M look. See, if you look at the picture of her, see, it looks like an M.
Yeah. Look at that.
Yeah. Her favorite TV show? MacGyver. Favorite male? Richard Dean Anderson.
Who is
MacGyver. And least favorite person? Homer Simpson.
Did we ever, get an is it the prom episode where that's the understanding of why they don't like Homer?
Oh, yeah. That's where we learned. I mean, all of a sudden they started dating. They literally hated Homer from day one.
They never really gave Homer a chance. Now, granted, they're right to, because Homer is dumb and probably shouldn't be married to Marge, as we've seen time and time again. But he's not, as we've seen in Colonel Homer, his heart is pure.
Yes.
His heart is pure.
He is. So, let's finish it off where you can find us. And since we're on episode 56, you guys have hopefully found us.
Yes.
So I'm going to leave it at this. If you follow us on Instagram, which is the Simpsons Did It Pod, or on Facebook, just search Simpsons Did It Podcast, I have a link on there. It goes to our link tree. It literally gives you every podcast platform, every social media, YouTube, our Buy Me a Coffee for supporting us. And yes, thank you to everyone who supported us so far. I hope everyone's enjoying stickers, because stickers are amazing and fun. And hopefully soon enough we get some more.
I love our stickers. I think they turned out fantastic.
Yeah, we're going to get some more swag for you guys eventually. But yeah, we have a link tree. That's where you can find all of our wonderful goodies. So make sure to check that out. But yeah, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, subscribe and like.
Yep.
And then if you guys listen on Apple, make sure to head over to Apple Podcasts, give us a rate and review. Yep. We'll read your review on the episode.
And even on YouTube, as even though you probably shouldn't delve into the comments, but if you give us some comments on YouTube as well, we'll maybe do the same thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love comments. Comments are fun. And you can email us too. simpsonsdiditpod@gmail.com.
Yes.
So yeah, do all those things. We love you. And we love you listening to us. And we're almost done with season 3, guys. So thanks for the amazing everything. So hopefully we'll close out season 3 here shortly, and then we'll move right on to season 4.
Because we're not like the Simpsons. We never take a break.
That's right. And once again, happy 4th of July to everyone, and thank you for listening. So until next time, I'm Steven Sklansky.
I'm your co-host, MacGyver. Robert Sklansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.